Now let's talk about how did the Delhi Sultanate expanded from just being a town for trade and commercial purposes to a total empire and the central capital of the whole subcontinent of India. In the 13th century, control of the Delhi Sultans rarely went beyond the heavily fortified city, and these were the towns occupied by the garrisons. But later on, as the sultans came in, they seldom controlled the hinterland of the cities, the areas around the cities, the suburbs, the villages. They were totally dependent on trade, tribute or plunder for supplies, and it became difficult to control the garrison towns which were distant from the Delhi capital, such as Bengal, Sindh, and by the time the Delhi rebellion took place, wars were there, bad weather was there, and this caused a disconnection between communication routes from Delhi. The authority and the sultans, the power which was sitting in Delhi was challenged back and again by a lot of dynasties and kingdoms such as the Marathas, the Rajputs, and not only the inland kingdoms but also from outland kingdoms such as Mongols and Afghanistan. These were mostly governed by rebellious people who rebelled at any sign of the sultan's weakness because they were just looking for a chance to take over the throne. As you can see here, how did the capital of Delhi expanded and became the Delhi Sultanate. These are all the towns which came under the reign of the Delhi Sultans. Now, the Sultanate barely survived with so many challenges, so many attacks from the outland and inland kingdoms. Consolidation occurred during the reign of Ghiyasuddin Balban, and the Balban forces were not able to keep the Mongols, the Afghans at bay. Further expansion was done by Alauddin Khilji once he took the reign of the Khilji kingdom, and then Muhammad Tughlaq. The first set of campaigns which were done along the internal frontiers were to gain the control of the kingdoms of the inland and the cities or the kingdoms near the Delhi capital. The Sultanate aimed at consolidating the hinterlands and making them a part of the Delhi Sultanate. Garrison town campaigns were also run, and these involved forests being cleared near the Ganga Yamuna Doab and expulsion of hunters and gatherers from that area so that a lot of residential areas could be established and infrastructure could be built in the capital. Now, lands were given to peasants for development of agriculture facilities. New fortresses were built, garrison towns and towns were established to protect trade routes, to promote regional trade, and the second expansion occurred along the external frontier of the city. This was done by the military expeditions which were run by the sultans and his governors, and these were mainly done in the southern part of India during the reign of Alauddin Khilji. However, this was further culminated by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. In their campaigns, Sultanate armies captured elephants, gold, silver, horses, slaves, and carried all these precious things to the capital. These all things went to the treasuries, and thus the Delhi Sultanate and the sultans flourished. By the end of Muhammad Tughlaq's reign, the armies of Delhi Sultanate marched across a large part of the subcontinent and defeated the rival armies and the kingdoms. They seized their cities, their towns, their kingdoms, even the slaves and people who were living there. They used to collect taxes from the peasants and dispensed justice in its realm. These were the movements of the military campaigns and expeditions that took place under the reign of Khiljis and the Tughlaqs. From Delhi, they went towards Gujarat, Chittor, Ranthambore, and further in the central part of India. Then, the main expeditions were led towards the Deccan Plateau or the southern part of India. Now, let's talk about a religion significant place in the history of Islamic rulers. The masjid. I am sure you all must have heard this word, masjid. A masjid is a mosque. So, a masjid is called a mosque in Arabic, and this is a place where Muslims go in order to pay their reverence to Allah. In a congregational mosque, Masjid-e-Jami or Jama Masjid, Muslims read their prayers together, which is called namaz. Members of the congregation chose the most respected, learned male as their leader, who is known as an imam, for the rituals or prayers. He also delivers the sermons or the khutbah during the Friday prayer. During prayer, Muslims stand facing the Mecca, and in India this is towards the west. This is called Qibla. Delhi Sultans built several mosques in cities all over the subcontinent, and some of the famous mosques are the Jama Masjid in Delhi and a lot of other mosques around the country. It is demonstrated and it showed they claim to be the protectors of Islam and Muslims. Here are some images of a very famous mosque.